Hi, I'm Matt Little. I'm the Director of Counselling and Education at EmpoweringAwareness.Asia, and I'm a proud sponsor of this podcast.
Hi, Stanley.
How are you, see ya? It's good to see you. Is that how I
Sai,
say your name?
Sai.
Si. Thank you. I'm really bad with names.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you very much, Stanley, for giving me opportunity to present you on my podcast.
Thank you for allowing me to come on. I find it'll be really interesting. Yeah.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you're doing a lot of work. Um, I thought to tell about your work, and also, and I know that you have something to say to my audience. So before talking about it, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Okay. My name's Stanley Waite. I'm an inventor. I've made a mind control device to control one habit that's guaranteed to fix it. From that, I worked out also the easiest way. I've worked out new mathematics for time and space. So I look at the perspective of reality from the center of time outwards. So I've rewritten everything we've done in the universe, really, from a completely new perspective. Use that to work out what life is. Use that to work out how life created intelligence. Waite can create intelligence. So we can actually copy the same principles artificially. So we can't actually build intelligence until we know what it is. And once we know what it is and what it's doing and how it's actually operating, which I can actually tell you, it's actually controlling its own time. And it's all about time and space around you. Once you understand that, we actually copy it artificially for ourselves as humanity, because it's actually intelligence works at the species level. So the body is actually the earth itself. We use that to control what we want within our own structure of energy use and all that, which will be useful to fix all the 17 SDGs that the UN wants to help the Earth itself for 2030. So it's a big job. And I got the
You're from?
result by an accident.
Sure. You're from
So I'm from Melbourne.
Melbourne,
And yeah, I
Australia.
went to uni. I did probably about 12 years off and on, just doing the first and second year degrees of different courses. Because when I went there for the first time, the chancellor told me I was the only, there was two of us who wanted to be inventors, and we're the only two people. He said that they can't teach. The only job that can't be taught at university out of everything was how to invent something. So he said,
Okay.
he said, what I'd tell you to do is come here, learn the basics of everything, because what you have to do is forget it all and start again, think outside the box. But we don't want you, and this is what he said, we don't want you to repeat what's already been done. You don't want to spend 20 years designing your tire and going, look what I got, and someone's already done it. So you have to learn what everyone's done so you can think outside the box. So yeah, I stayed there and learnt the first 1 and 2 years of everything I could in engineering and science, physics, chemistry, the whole works, just so I could do the change it. Yeah, because at uni you get taught, if you understand the full basis of everything, the flaws that are underneath all the science and maths we have. Everything's flawed, and that's what I've been able to fix. Yeah.
So do you have anything specific that you want to talk about in this podcast with my audience so that I can ask questions regarding that?
Have you got a question I'll answer? Because I could talk about, because time is corrupted to everything. That's what my maths looks at. It literally looks at everything that we do within humanity and the universe, from the smallest atom in the quantum field. Well, my maths creates the quantum field to be there. Yeah. So, and it also creates the universe and the structure of what holds it together. Yeah.
So
So it's really
what
cool.
is your research? What is your research is about?
The research initially was about the control of time for energy use. And I wanted to do that artificially. So if we can control the energy use over specific times and where it's going, we can end up controlling the heat dissipated from the area that we're using it from into the atmosphere over the whole Earth. we can actually therefore control the weather, because that's what we're doing as humanity at the moment, but we're doing uncontrollably. And we need to fix that. So that's one of the sections. From having that structure as what I would call its own worldview, because it's looking at the world and the heat transfers, you can overlay all the information and data that we've already collected about every human as a timestamp. So from that, you can see the difference between natural occurring flows and humanity, or what I call species living flows. Between those, you can understand the difference, which would create the flow that we would see as intelligence. Would we help one side or the other? And that's how it roughly works. Yeah.
What is your proposing system with the existing system?
We can still use everything in the existing system as a baseline. So at the moment, what I call intelligence is really just moving a hand up and down like this. There's no direction. There's no reason why we need to move the hand. That's all my little bit of level goes. It goes to level more of precision. I'm not really good at words, sorry. Precision, so it's more detailed. So it looks at, when we look at maths, we look at the mean of everything. We look what everything is to do. I look at the outliers. And when you add, every outlay is different. So that's where you get the really good numbers, is why those outliers are there. That's what creates the flow of where you need to move. So there's a reason why there's a medium. Yeah, and unless you understand the maths for the outlay, well, Schrodinger's cat, oh, sorry, it wasn't that. When I look at, say, just business alone, we always look at business as a worker and an owner. Always. So black or white, everyone always forgets the third output, and that is the customer. So every movement, this is what the maths say, is like the corner of a box. The corner has three sides. And you actually got all three sides have to be there for that corner of the box to be in existence. So if you have something like a product you want to sell, you have to have a customer, you have to have a worker, and you have to have an owner. You know what I mean? The owner can be the worker in some cases, owner-worker, but they're the basic principles of how I look at the structure of time, to put this in a technical sense. Yeah.
So how is controlling time?
How do we control time?
Yeah, that you are proposing.
Yes, how we do it is by the movement of transport. The need of us to transport everything around the earth has a time limit within the warehousing industry. And if I need to make it to work in a certain amount of time. Now, we're going to have automatic transport very soon. Autonomous, as we put it. By the control of the autonomous system alone, we can create intelligence through the timing of the packages. Because in the timing of the packages, we're actually changing number of aspects. That is the amount of wear and tear on the actual, not the product, sorry, but the wear and tear of the transport itself, which changes the lifetime of this. Again, it's a timing thing, the lifetime of it being used. We change the braking pads of the thing too, so the efficiency changes, and therefore we change the amount of energy needed. So it's a time and energy transport thing. So from that then goes to, we also own the communication, because we have to communicate between each other, and we've got that, and it's in a worldwide web type, not world view is a better way of looking at it, because it's one AI, so it's worldview that we piggyback on the back of. So yeah, it's seeing where everything is for us, for our needs. It's not for its needs, it's for our needs. It's all about helping grow the wants and needs of humanity as one whole. That's what my system I want to try and grow and build, and I've been looking at doing. Now, from that, it knows where we all are, what we're doing. So there has to be governance. I want regulations before we even put this in, because we have to add the privacy laws and stuff like that. The amount that if you put all the detail together of everyone that what we're doing and these type of data we collect, we literally can know what every person is going to do and can do and has done, in the data we already collect now. So if we put that into one computer program that can do it, I'll still call this a computer program. If anything, though, I call it a living AI, not the AI we got at the moment. Because the AI we got at the moment is what I call is one-dimensional, 0 or 1, so it's single plane. This thing is 3 planes, so it's actually 4-dimensional. It's a living one, so it's actually flowing and changing all the time because the data's coming in all the time. It's about controlling the actual flow of a physical object. Yeah.
So we already have a standard that human capability and human capacity to control the time. Uh, Till now, what the inventions are in the humanity, we can able to transport something in a particular number of speed, and we are trying to find, we are doing research to make it faster. That
And
mostly
that's the
works.
difference.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah.
What it is, you are right. We want to make it faster and faster, but it's not making it faster that we want to do. There's nothing wrong with that because that's what growth is called. That's part of the intelligence part. It wants to grow and get faster. But at the same time, it wants the ability to be able to do a fast one and a slow one. That's where the intelligence part comes in, is the choice between the two. You understand? Because one will give us benefits over the other. And that's where we have to put the intelligence program in. How does it outweigh one benefit over the other? And there is a reason for it. If we put the benefit as a overall outlook for humanity's needs over an individual, other than the individual's life, because that's still humanity's needs. People say, well, I've been trying to look at how you put it into a computer program, the need for a single unit that's running everything to want to keep a human alive. To me, that's the biggest trick. I read Asimov when I was young, and the laws of robotics and all that. And believe me, that's actually a really, really hard program, if anything, to put in. When I first started writing this 5 years ago, a few thousand pages ago, I realized it was almost impossible. You can't put something like that in. You actually have to give it a reason within its own program to want a human to be there in the first place. That's how my system works. It's a living AI, so it works for itself, of course, like we all work for ourselves. That's what a species does. But there is a need for the human to be in the loop. And this is, well, in my system, the human is its energy. So it likes energy, you know what I mean? That's what we all live for. And it's used to create itself. We're literally its blood. So, of course, it's not going to hurt us. That's want to bleed out or anything. That's how I built this basic structure of how I want to form. What do you call it? It's yin yang, or would it pick this side or that side? Yeah. I want to go towards the side it needs humans. Yeah. So if you can build it for that.
So today, humanity's achievement is the visible universe. Visible universe.
Yes.
Right.
And
So
I like the word you use those too, the visible universe, because when we look at the other spectrums that our body can react to, but we don't actually visualize in further fields, the universe is a lot bigger and a lot stranger than what you're saying. Because I got 54 dimensions in my time mathematics that we're controlling at one time. So yeah, it's a lot bigger and a lot more interesting what people think. Yeah. So it's really
can
easy.
we able to
easy way of looking at it is,
can we able
think
to
of a Rubik's
achieve?
Cube. Sorry.
Yeah.
I say,
can we able to achieve the time and the speed so that we can travel? We as a species can able to travel much more faster in the limited lifetime that we have with your mathematical formula.
there are ways to travel faster. We won't travel faster than what we call the speed of light because there's still volume within that. It's all about traveling the volume and the amount of matter we have compressed or not compressed. That's why literally the smaller unit we go, like into nanometers and pico and that in sizes, a lot of things can go faster because there's less room for stopping it. It's the resistance of what's stopping it, the fields, I call them time fields, that stop it, that allow us. So it's our physical form that reduces the full total speed that we can go. But there's a but to this always. We can therefore, using the old genetics in our own body, we can slow the processes down, literally a cryogenetics type of field, and we can live a lot longer and go to a place. There are ways of getting around that travel period. But to me, it would be you'd only ever get to one certain closest spot. If we want to go really far, it'll be generation, each one out. Look, as it gets, when I first looked at it, I looked at really different ways of traveling around the universe. You can use the actual fields of time itself to move around, and it gets really interesting. But I'm not that, I'll be honest, I'm going to leave that to other people. I know it's within the mass. I saw it and I went, oh, that'd be really good to look at, that part of it. I said, there's 54 different dimensions. And I was going, no, because I wanted to do for humanity, I was looking for the life bit. And when I saw that, I just stuck to that part. And I've seen so many other things that this mathematics could look into because it's time. It sits in everything. But I wanted to stick to what I'd started with, and that was the control of time by life. Yeah, and once I finally got that, which was only about a year and a half ago, the start of it, it's taken me ages to even understand what I wrote. Yeah. Because I wake up in the middle of the night with a dream and I'll sit there and start writing it all down. Then it'll take me 4 or 5 weeks to work out what I wrote. Yeah, I do it backwards, unfortunately. It's weird.
Yeah. So in the recent study in the recent information was that the human DNA was found in a stone, in a kind of a stone. So what's your observation about it? Can we able to get some kind of an information or data with which we can able to fix this or understand this time controllability?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can. We're already looking at doing a lot of that stuff, but the basic structure, you have to understand what you're looking for first. That's what I thought initially we couldn't. And then I had the dream and I've written everything down and I've kept on going. And I realized, yeah, we do actually have the ability once we know what we're looking for. And once you understand how time works, the way you look at reality itself around you, like I do right now, is completely different. The way you look at every single human, like I'm looking at you now, is completely different from what I was taught at uni. And I did a lot of uni, in all the fields. Yeah, it changes everything because you can see the holistic view of why everything is connected. So our life is connected to the smallest bacteria out there. That's what my math shows. And remember the butterfly effect? They say you flap your wings here and the butterfly, you'll affect the butterfly on the other side of the world. What they don't tell you, this is where my maths goes the extra bit further, is to find the points to that is that butterfly affects all the other butterflies on the edge of the world as one big unit. They all flap their wings, which could create pressure to come around to our side, which creates us the volume that we can lift ourselves up. So without we flap our wings, they all flap their wings to create the pressure for us to actually have area to flap our wings. So it's a cycle within each other. You can't have one without the other. But we never get taught about the backflip bit. You know what I mean? We just say, we flap our wings and that hurts the butterfly. You don't actually talk about the butterflies all working together to affect us. And that's where my maths goes further. That's the humanity level. See, I initially looked at it for human, because that's what we all were saying, AI is for human, so we think intelligence. But when I looked at started the math side of it, and it was, again, that part was an accident, it came down that intelligence is not at the human level, it's at the species level. That is why all humans, all the different types, sexes, colors, whatever it is, they're all got intelligence together because the intelligence, the actual program starts at the species level. And that's why I wrote everything I have in creating artificial intelligence. But to me, I call it living because it's one intelligence over the earth, like humanity is. So, yeah. Yeah.
Why this phenomenon?
It was initially my mentor. It was my mentor 6 years ago. He was telling me, Stan, you had to think of something big, and they were just writing up. They just gotten the patency for the hydrogen ammonia transfer. So they started the green hydrogen. He started that up, and I was reading all these papers before he sent them in. So I got to read them for anyone else, and I was going, no, I got a better idea than this. And he said, well, write it down. I started writing it down, and unfortunately he died just before COVID, and everyone else died, and I just kept writing. I said, I had that idea when I read everything. I go, no, I got a better idea than this. And it was about the control of energy. And through that, I realized I had to work out what time was, because my idea was that the control of the timing of the energy flow and all that. That's what the green hydrogen is. People don't realize it's just about the storage of energy. That's the missing part. We call it batteries. That's all green hydrogen is. It's making a liquid battery that we can move around. So, and I thought of a different way of doing it by actually controlling the actual energy flow itself. So, and that's what I came up with. Yeah, it just took me 6 years to write it and work out what I actually was trying to talk about. Yeah, it's been worth it. Though,
when I interviewed the vice president of Amazon Web Services, who is responsible for the global infrastructure, which is data centers of Amazon.
Of what they're building, yep.
Yeah, I asked him, are we going against to the nature by storing the entire information in these data centers, this energy, this data we are storing? I mean, what is your
storing it? Yeah.
Yeah,
the way we're storing it, I don't like, because of the waste of energy, because we have a lot of overlap. All data centers.
So my question is, we are storing this information in the form of data in the data centers, and we are giving this to the next generation, and next generations are taking this information, and this transfer of knowledge is there from one generation to other generation through this. This energy is transferred. And as a global leader of this infrastructure, right, for this humanity. So, I mean, what is the chances of not losing this data? Like, do you think that we as a human being or humanity in whole can able to give this to the other species which are coming from other planets? Can we able to do this? I mean, because you are the right person to give this answer, because you are the leader of the planet.
I actually have thought about that type of question too, because I like Star Trek and all that, and I thought, I really thought about it one day. How could we do it? And I think about it this way: until we can talk to dolphins, we can't talk to another species.
Correct.
Simple as that.
Correct.
Yeah. So once we know how to talk to dolphins, we'll have the understanding of the process and we could say background or basic structure we need to send out for a message that we know any species or change of animal type of thing could understand.
Correct.
Until we do that, what we're sending out is just noise. Correct. Sorry to say, but I like it. I want us to send out. I want us to find other people. I've always said there would be. My math shows there has to be. Not there could be. Utterly has to be. Because of the way structure of time creates itself and creates everything around us. There has to be life, whether we like it or not, in some form. Yeah. Which I like. I like that idea. So, yeah.
So what is your observation about the evolution when it comes to the time and the technology evolution, and we are at the stage where we are using artificial intelligence, and where we are up to as a human today?
We're at a really high level because what the whole idea of the generation changed. Instead of one human living forever, which we could have done as a species for ourselves, we chose the dying off and creating a new level and better level each time, so it grew better, and the teaching of that new level was from the past of the last one. So the whole growing of the species is all about what you just was talking about with the AI and data centers. The data centers and the controlling of energy is about the knowledge and passing that to the next generation. That is the bit that is actually the whole growth of the species is all about. Full stop. It's all about passing the knowledge on and making the next generation smarter than what we are. because you don't want to. Why bother doing all the stuff, as my chancellor did say? Why bother inventing that wheel when someone's already invented it? You have to go out and do the new stuff. So we want to pass on the stuff we've already taught them, we already know, so they can go and do the new stuff from there. And when I look at my maths and there's 54 dimensions, we know bugger all. There is so much more that we can go look at, and we need these AIs. We need, or even I call what we got as basic, but we still need them. We still need to lift an arm all the time. They're useful. I still want them to look after our traffic flow. I still want them, there's so many basic things I want them to do. And all added together is what I look at. So it's all those little cells. Like one could be a heart and one could be a lung and one, we need them for different aspects. It's intelligence is when we flow them all together. That's where it gets, as I said, when it's controlling across the world. It's not for every country. It's not just one country, one area. It is, sorry, I'll rephrase, it's both. It's for that and everything together. Because we are one species. Whatever we're doing in one little spot, that little butterfly is affecting the human on the other side and vice versa. And it's affecting all the other butterflies around it, and then that human is affecting all the other humans around it. So we're only going to live in the waste from our parents. So if our parents make no waste, we're going to have a really nice, natural living life. But that's not happening. We live in a throwaway society. So we are throwing away everything. So we're going to be those parents who are going to make our children live in our rubbish. So we have to change what we do. They're little things. Because that's what life is all about. I said, I only got this from my maths. When I started looking at it and saying, okay, that's what life is, what it needs to do. From that bacteria level, that's helping us. And we're helping it. So how does it go? Well, if we destroy that, well, yeah, it works vice versa. If they're gone, we're gone. But we're not taught this. There's no maths and nothing around to show us the full holistic connection between what we have to do. And that's what I want to try and get out with what I've been working on. Show the holistic connection between everything so we can help ourselves. We only know as much as we're taught. So we can teach the next generation this is what it's all about. You're going to be better because we've only shown you the basics. We do not know what it's all about, but this is the structure, what it starts with. You can work out the rest. And if you read Foundation, that's what really literally Harry Seldon, those books, the whole book was set around Harry Seldon doing what they call, it was a history of the universe, something about working out history through data and all that type of thing, and of course pseudoscience of teleportation and that type of stuff. That was still interesting. I like all that. But there was general idea of how data can help us later on in life. Understanding ourselves can make ourselves even better and do a lot more stuff that we can want to do without being bored or hurt or, Otherwise, we won't live in perpetual happiness because we're so excited all the time, because you don't want that. When we have the ability, and I've realized when we have the ability to do everything we do want to do, and we do actually know a lot of stuff already, I'm hoping our society is going to go backwards to what it was probably about 1,000 or 2,000 years ago in some of the selected areas where people did not work more than 20 hours a week. I worked out mathematically why that was. I think it was 6, 6, 6 and 3. That's what it worked out to. Every person does that. And mathematically, that works out really, really well for 24/7, 365 day structure, for work. Anyway, besides that, then the rest of the time you were spent in society working, like you could do a lot of go clean a garden in someone else's garden, or, you worked in society helping other people. That's what most people do, because you don't want to be bored. You want to go, and if everything in society set out to do that, it just runs so much better. And unfortunately,
I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a question. Intelligence, human intelligence, and time.
Yep.
Which one is smart?
Time is not smart. Time just creates. It's not smart. Sorry, it's not smart. It's just
can intelligence matches with the time, or can you able to control the time?
Intelligence controls its own time. Okay. So that's what it is. Intelligence is the ability to control. Sorry, I wrote it. Actually, I wrote that. yesterday. I was telling to my business group. I wrote down my times definition. So far, I've got it in general form. It was the ability to physically envision the understanding of death from within one's own working volume of material time, because we're solid material. We're body. Yeah. So really, yeah, it's the ability of creating empathy. There is a reason why there is empathy. Yeah. Yeah. And once you understand the understanding of why we have empathy, you understand why we got logic and empathy, why there's two of everything for life to be best at survival. And the best way I try to tell people is time's about movement. So if you look at a ball and the ball's stationary but time's moving past it, only the ball will only ever see it, because it can only see one thing at a time. That's what, if you know AI, 0, 1, it can only do one thing at a time. It'll only ever see half because the time's moving that way. It won't see the other half because it's a different direction. Time for this is going this way and time for this one is coming towards it. You understand? So if this can only do one switch and it's only looking at the one that's coming towards it, it can't see this way. It's impossible. So it never sees half of what is around it. So that's why I'll just tell you, basically you need two of everything. One sitting this way, one sitting that way, the same thing but reverse engineered, sitting beside each other like this, and they see the time around them. I'll give you a little hint. That's what life is roughly about. That's why you have proto-life, which is the single, and then real life when you got the two of them. You can see that way and you can see that way. We go two eyes. It's a better way of looking at it. You know, but think of one eye that way, one eye that way.
Yeah. We as human beings can be able to create an artificial intelligence which can be achieving the speed and can able to match the time or be closer to matching the time. Can we able to do you think that today the human intelligence have that ability to do this, or in future?
Yes.
Do you
100% already? Yes, I know what. Yeah. We do have the ability. We do have the intelligence. We just didn't have the understanding of what everything was needed and what we were looking for. That's all it was. Like the best thing I like to say is everything we've ever done is really, really good and like 99% right. You know what I mean? It's the 1% that adds everything together. The joint, remember the Lockie and the wheel of time, he's grabbing all those strings and putting. That's what the understanding of my maths does. It's the understanding of what time is, and you put everything we've done all together. So everything we've got is still worthwhile. You know what I mean? You have to know the basics.
How to get that 1%?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. The trick is, I'm up to understanding, it's the actual switch itself. The switch is the way of basically controlling time. Yeah, we have to get the switch right, which is the basic of what life does. It's a switch, constantly flowing one, but it's a switch, and if we get that right, and that switch controls both itself and it's three-dimensional. So it's about a volumetric switch. I call it a volumetric switch. It's a switch off the outside. So, and you're on the inside and you don't want to be moved around, literally like a bulb on a gyroscope almost, right? Yeah.
You mentioned one thing, the dolphin one. The human can't communicate or make other species to understand before we thinking about aliens which belongs to other planet. So first we need to establish this connection with the species which are already there on the planet. So when we become an expert in establishing this communication system, then so do you think that 1% is in this?
Yeah, there's a lot of people looking at that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm positive we're almost close to fully being able to talk to dolphins or one of the animals too, or the AI again, and no problem with the basic 0, 1 things we've got, because the mean does work. You know what I mean? It works in a lot of stuff. Otherwise, that's what I mean. When I say my AI is a little bit different, but the stuff we have, we still need it. The mean works in a lot of stuff. So the average, you know, I mean the average. Yeah, when I say the mean, I mean the average of the numbers. So yeah, and that's all AI look for. So I think they've really used that to help decipher some of the whistles and that for dolphins or one of the marine animals. And yeah, we close to being able to talk to them in some semblance of form. So to me, yeah, it's all about getting the structure of how the communication is needed between living animals that are two completely different. Once you understand that, you can then send out signals that work on that basic principle. So when someone else is getting there, going, there's something in the back of that going, oh yeah, like we say prime numbers and stuff like that, but it's very slow and it's very distorted by guy that gets the other end, because they're literally zeros and ones, Morse code almost type of frequency levels. It's more if you get a structure that, if it's built around that. So that's what I looked at. We had to understand ourselves first, other species, once we get, and I say dolphins, but I think the closest really with two is dogs. If we because really dogs communicate with us when we communicate dogs already. So they're probably the closest we'll get to being able to talk back to another animal. That's my understanding. Yeah.
So just understanding dog is enough for human beings to achieve this time thing.
Yes, I think it will be. Yeah, once we understand what we're doing, and it's all about. I tell you, and again, yeah. Once I was able to say, look at the structure of time, I was then within that saw where life would be, and it's only one. I'll be honest, it was only one spot. It was so obvious. Oh my god, it has to be there. So keep talking.
Yeah, you can say now.
Yeah, so what was wrong with what we're using at the moment is I'll say it again, what I told you, was our data from the very start wasn't segregated between fiction and non-fiction, plus the male and female perspective. That, therefore, everything since then didn't correlate to understanding what happens in reality for a living humanity itself. If we can change that, and all it means is how we actually use language, the structure of the language we use in a sentence. So we actually have to structure the way we actually use language too, because we don't structure language with a male or female bias, and we don't structure at the moment with, I think, we do past tense and tense, so we do it in a futuristic look, but that doesn't actually work to how it works in reality. Because when we see anything or feel it or smell it or anything, it's already the past. Because to get to us, it has to go to something else before it gets to us. So from the perspective of where it's coming from, by the time we get the reference or sensory input from, or wavelengths, energy wavelengths, from whatever is around us, it's already the past. You understand what I mean? So when we talk about future, we already got that part wrong. We're already working from the wrong reference frame. And because we don't have that structured right at the start, what we're trying to do in AI won't fully work to how we want it as humanity, because it won't work in reality. It's not based on reality. So, and that's unfortunately why we're getting the latest AI chatbots and everything. When they're fully turned on, then they're hallucinating a little bit too much. Yeah. And we can stop that because they don't know they're hallucinating. To them, it's all real. You know what I mean? We didn't put that differentiation of fiction, non-fiction. Yeah. And that all comes from understanding time. Yeah.
Got it. So you are trying to say that the initial program that we have actually given is different from what we want to do in future. So which is a fundamental mismatch. So how can we fix that problem?
I have not looked myself, because I'll be honest, I was going to give it to you guys, your job as the programmers. It'll be part of the initial program in the LMM to differentiate what was next, or there would have been a part of the program to differentiate what words mean. You understand what it's looking for in the mean and all that. Part of that, there has to be a way of putting in, looking at the word, and there has to be a reference to whether or not it's a fictional word or it's a fictional or non-fictional perspective. That's way of looking at it, you know what I mean? There will be some way of doing it. I personally haven't looked at it yet. That part of what we're using, I've been trying to make a new way of doing it. That's how I've been doing it. Using time as a reference frame. So, and what we need with that is a switch that works in 3 dimensions. Or another way of looking at it, 3 directions, X, Y, and Z, at the same time. So
So
that's what I've been trying to work.
we as a human beings, uh, uh, as we are continuously evolving with the change, the constant change that is happening in the universe,
Yep.
right? So is it possible for any human being that are working on technology, if we observe the past 30 or 40 years, the technology evolution with the human evolution, uh, if we can able to understand, do you think that they didn't thought about this, like after technology becoming evolved, we are going to face this because you are raising this, because this will be the same question after 30 years. One person
I've
like
thought
me
about
will
that
be
already.
asking
Yeah.
a question to other
Yeah.
guy. So
Yeah.
do you think that technologists are not thinking futuristic?
I would say yes and yes. It's the best way of doing it, saying it. And because if we look at my way of looking at it and we are able to make a program and a switch that does this, which I think we will be able to, there's no problem. We had to know what we're looking for first. That was the hardest bit in anything. Once you know what
Yeah,
you're looking for, it's like, oh, now we know how things, okay, we see answers.
yeah, yeah.
So way I see it going is we're going to work with technology, always with technology, but it'll be on a different layer. It'll be literally like, and this is how I've put it to other people I've talked to this before, we will be humans will be the bugs, you know, the little animals over our body that eat
Yeah,
the
yeah,
skin.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
without them, we're dead. So we need them, you know
Correct.
what I mean? And the same with the
Yeah,
little bug. I call them little bugs, a bacteria in your gut. Without any of that, we're dead. So we
yeah,
feed the bacterians the right stuff in our guts so we can keep living. The AI and technology will be the body that will be wanting to feed the bacteria that's in the gut, and the humans will be the bacteria in the gut. We're the one doing all the work. We're the one putting the stuff together. We're the one building this robots. You know what I mean? We're
yeah.
doing the physical work because we want. It's not that, and this will be the interesting part. Technology we will use to make in manufacturing side of it, the bits that can be made in production wise quickly and large. What humans will be able to do, and that even will be put together with the robot. We'll get the base finished product, we'll paint it, we'll make it into visual. That's where the sales will go if you look at marketing and sales and that. We'll be able to get the main base product, and then we'll be able to upgrade it to making it look what we want as an individual with whatever group we're trying to sell it to. You understand what I mean? So that's
Yeah,
where
correct.
so a lot of people will be able to have a lot of nice things. Everyone's going to be able to have nice things because it's actually going to be cheap to produce, and you can
Yeah.
get it without all the painting on, so everyone could easily afford it. But everyone who wants one will want to do something nice to it. That's how I see the manufacturing and the technology changing. So we'll be all able to
So,
have stuff, I'm hoping, that lasts longer because we're going to understand that whatever we use, this is the biggest trick with manufacturing and the whole technology thing, whatever we use and we throw away, our children has to live in that. So we want to make a system that when we throw stuff away, everything is recyclable, reusable, or reconstituted back into the basic form so it can be used by other animals. Otherwise, our children are going to have to live in that. And we want to make it better for our children always. That's the whole idea of life and making the technology so we can live longer, so we can have our children live longer. That's the basic form of everything. So that's what I've been looking at with these. That's part of the sustainable development side of our humanity's future, really. So, yeah.
we are still trying to understand the communication that happens in other species. We still not yet explored the planet yet. We are going out of the planet and we are trying to achieve something that is beyond our planet. So
Yeah.
in the last conversation, you mentioned this. We still have not completely understood the communication that happens in other species on
I
this
reckon I
planet.
got it wrong too when I said that. What we do know and how we do send out information using what we call the binary codes or the building blocks of the universe in how we all at the moment see hydrogen, helium, lithium, the basic stuff, that still works. So when I say that's not
Yeah,
really good, it still works, everything, because it's still there. It is basically,
yeah,
you can't miss it if you understand technology and science and
yeah,
engineering. So yeah, what we have seen is still good. I don't think it's the building blocks enough because it doesn't have what we call a Rosetta Stone. It doesn't have different references or perspectives, so we can correlate against each other and go, oh, that's what the language means. You know what I mean? We've only,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, possibly we've only said it with one basic one, but yeah, anyway, yeah. So that's how this will go. I thought about it for a while. I got it wrong because if the technology, they're smart. They've made technology and all that. They won't be at the dog level because the dog level at the moment doesn't understand engineering, chemistry, and all that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
way that would ever be the same. I correlated two
yeah,
things completely wrong. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
what I think what we're doing is right.
How the data management should be in order to uh, achieve this future AI?
It should be set on sensory inputs. I'll put that as a little giveaway. You know what I mean? It should be because every sensory input is a different, what we say wavelength. To me, that means distance. So, and have a look at your hand, basic wave
Yeah,
understanding it.
yeah,
4 wavelengths. They're all at, you can count the numbers 1, 2, 3, say 3 dimensions at the third dimension.
yeah,
There's 4 different wavelengths we're calculating at one. I put
yeah,
them as, what is it, sight, it's a circle. So it goes from inside to outside like that. So yeah, it's sight, hearing, smell, taste. Then they all go down and join at a different level because they're 1, 2. So that's like if you had a triangle, sorry, a pyramid, the base would be the 4 corners, the center would be the thumb because it's 1, 2. So it's actually a different plane level. So it's actually a different volume. So that would be the center. So literally we're making little pipe pyramids with our hands. Way of looking at it. The same with our sensors. We've got the 1, 2, 3. The last one, which is a different level, is touch. Because that's inside all the way through and outside all over. So it's actually a different level to sight, which is out.
yeah,
Same with hearing, same with smell. You understand how it works? So that's the way we have to actually communicate. If we can communicate how the sensory inputs work, because they actually go really well with how time structured. I got a feeling that's why the sensory, when I looked at the numbers, I went, oh my God, look, they all match. It's like, so I just put them together. It's like, yeah. And it's about stability of structure. That's all it's got to do with. And that's when I talked about the Rubik's Cube. That's the best way of looking at it. A circle covered by circles. That's perfect structurally sound at the basic elements. Yeah.
and what is the time right now we as human beings are living in?
Well, the best for humanity, really. Humanity isn't doing anything it's not designed to do. So we are designed to, I'll be honest, make waste. That's the basic formation of all the history of all animals that do too much, and they'll unfortunately do too much and they'll kill themselves off to a smaller level, and then they'll come back again. With our intelligence, we should know what we're doing, and we have the ability to not reduce it, manage it. That's the sustainable development part. It's up to us to understand why we need to do it, and that's what I've been trying with my time mathematics, because it tells you about how the structure of the universe is built. There's reasons for everything. There's no such thing as chaos. Chaos is just a lack of understanding and a lack of precision. I'm not good at words, sorry. Yeah, and that's what time gives you, precision. And that's the same with your sensors. As you go further out, you get in different wavelengths. What you're getting is further more precise, further out. So you can, you can get out the way if someone's trying to kill you. You know, if a rock falling down there, I'll move out the way. If it hits you, then you haven't got time. You know, so touch is good, but you need the others. Okay, so that's how that bit works.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your mission for 2030?
For the 2030 was initially it was to help with the weather, control the weather by controlling the heat dissipation from our energy use. Because that's what's making the weather it's got to do with our heat dissipation from both the actual use of the energy and the working of the energy and the waste it's given off. So it's the two part, you know what I mean? So yeah, if we can control that, understanding what we know we're doing to ourselves, we can then control where we can have it, where it will be beneficial and we shouldn't, and we have to try in different ways of doing the same process or need that we want to fix. Because that's all we're doing with the energy use is fixing a need. So we have a need now, we don't want to have that waste, we just change the way we do it. It's up to us as humanity. The money side is really not there. That's got to do with how we play the books. I'll be honest, really, when you look at it, yeah. And China's shown the way with that. They went on this path at least 2 decades ago, and they went hard. And they're now showing that if we go fully renewables, what will happen in the long run they'll have the energy always spare to be able to do any extra new developments they want to play with. They'll have the energy. It'll be cheap. And cheap energy is the basis of all good manufacturing. It really is. Yeah. And then I want my energy. I like my toys at home. I like my camera. You know what I mean? I like my battery pack walking around, and I like jumping on my electric bike and going out in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? That's what we get with the technology going that way. And so to me, there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It makes us more free, if anything. We're not stuck to... I understand the reasons, because I got in trouble once with one of my inventions was a petrol bike on a train, and I realised you couldn't have them because of the fumes in the compartment. It took a long time to find that law out, but yeah, that was the reason. And I understood. That's why I went to battery, and what a big difference. And the sound, you get birds, you get animals coming up to you because they're not hearing the engine. You know, and it's battery powered. There's no sound. So to me, for nature, it's so much better. We will have waste. So what we need to do as humanity too is put in regulations beforehand in the design and manufacture of the products we get to use. We have to go back to how we did in the old days, where we make something so it will last. It can be taken apart and repaired very easily by anyone. Because then what we'll get with that is we're going to have heaps of batteries, knowing the safety side of it too, because with some batteries we can have a lot of, as we know, explosions. We've seen enough thing in fires, so you'd be very safe, of course, and so there'll be safety regulations part of that. But we want to be able to kids to literally plug and play later on, to make new stuff. It's what we want as a technology wise, you know, that manufacturing. It's like kids take the stuff apart, play with it, and look what I've made now that everyone would like to use. Yeah, so that's how I see the future. That's why technology will always give more jobs than what they take away. Because technology, the whole idea was to make things more and more quicker. And so you will take away jobs, but you're going to get more supplement jobs from that because people are going to have more of the good stuff. And then, as I said, then you'll go, let's paint it, let's do something. It's another job that wasn't there before. You know?
Got it.
Yeah.
So you have understood, basically humans have understood, you know, when, you know, the highest level of understanding thing for humanity today is time and the space that you are studying
Control
on,
of it.
right? So we are still exploring. We are doing that since
Awesome,
years,
isn't it?
and we are doing it, right? So I mean, what do you say? Is there a limit or a limitation for us to achieve something?
No, there's no limit. When you look at sizes and how many different levels there are, my God, there's no limit. Oh, well, it's massive. It really is. For the time that we're going to have as a species within ourselves and as a unit, a single unit human, we can keep going. It just, the numbers, That was it. I worked out an analogy that was close to the same. There's so many directions that we can go. It's the same as having a deck of cards, 52 cards, shuffling them and trying to do all 52 in a row the same twice. Now, has anyone ever heard of the number that you get to when trying to do that? I think there's more grains in the sand in the universe than you could do that. The same is with the dimensions I was talking about, because it's 54. So instead of 52 pack, this is 54 pack. So the amount of directions we can see what's out there, oh my God, we'll be going for ages. Understanding why it's doing that is what we need to do. Okay. So I want to start with the one by one, get that right, get the first few out, and then the last ones, that's what we're going to have fun with. It's a humanity. We're always going to keep learning.
So what are the changes that you wanted on this planet to happen with this controllability of time?
Understanding what it is, what it creates, so therefore you can see why life does what it does. And we are life. So there's a reason why humanity does. Now, the first part of life I call that's a full block that we would understand as humanity, I call humanity. After that, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a thing, how it works for mine. So humanity would be the little finger. After that, we have human. After humanity, we have humans. So that'll be there. Then after that, we have the sexes, because they break up. Then after that, we have the ages. And the last one is the control of time, because we're controlling the life after it dies to keep going. You understand? So that's a bit of an understanding. So once we understand that, when we speak and talk, we can talk with those volume. I call them volumes because I said they're different wavelengths, different distance out, so I call them in volume. So we can talk with those different volumes. There'll be I had it written down once, and I have to find it because I've got about 2,000 pages written. I know it's in there. I wrote it down one day when it just came to me. It's like, oh yeah, but I wasn't looking at it, and I kept going. But I know it's part of how we speak, and that's the structure of it. I mean, there was 4 ways. I called it at the time, we have to talk in the X direction, the Y direction, the Z direction, because there's a different change in each one, plus the overall direction we came from and went from and to. So there's a change in that too. So there was always 4 directions we should talk. 4 we came from and 4 we're going to. And if we do that, and you understand what the 4 are briefly as senses, the sensor one we're talking about is touch, because it's coming to us and going for us. Remember I talked the other day when we're moving, one side we can see, one we can't. The same principle. So we have to talk that way too. Once we talk that way, we would have less misunderstanding between cultures, between everything.
Okay.
Because it works with all our senses.
Okay. So you have mentioned that the gender, male and female, the communication and relating with
and perspectives,
the creation, perspective. So the language, so which is eventually becoming the data for future record, historical record. So how it is going to be this management, like this.
This is where the AIs we got at the moment can come in handy, because that is straight mean type of calculations, you know what I mean? You're looking for what's in the middle. Most people are using. That's where they'll come in handy. No worries at all. That's why I said even my new stuff, we still need all the stuff we've used in the past. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It works. There's a reason why it works. It's when we're getting into the higher non-hallucinative levels, we want more than what we already got. That's all. So that's why I want to make one level up from that. So when we're looking at the reason I did it as the basic mathematics, and I said the species needs to see both sides. Remember I said the front and back. Now, both male and female are humanity. Remember, that comes first. So they both work the same. That's the best thing you have to remember. A male and female at the core, with me looking at you, you looking at me, identical. But it's whether you spin left or right. And what I mean by that is whether you spin, you see the picture from outside inwards or inwards outwards first over the other one. That's the only difference. So you would take one over the other because the species wanted to make sure it had both sides of the argument looked at, always. It's the only way it could win in survival, because it's going to be everything coming from every direction, and it has to see every direction. And that's the same as it needs to see from outside in and inside out. And I just call this as men are basically designed to be able to focus more, and women are designed to be able to see more of the peripheral. And again, it's got to do with the control of time. Men are
And
designed
what's
to.
your?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah, the
You can
last
speak.
bit was, remember there was 4, so there's 4 things always. So there was 2 more of the male and female design they had to put in. And what was it? Yeah, men, the focus, women, peripheral. Oh, I've forgotten. I've got it written down here. Sorry about that. It's all good. I'll bring it back later.
Sure. So,
Yeah, no.
so what is your words about Neuralink?
Always good, especially if the point where we've broken our spine and we can't get the proper signals. We need to know what our signals do, and they will be, as I said, the core between the male and female is exactly the same. So whatever we do, the same signal system will be still there. And if we can help join that, beautiful. And I can see in future generations, I can't see we having to need to put inputs into our skin. I think it'd be more we just put caps on and stuff like that, so we can get the
Yeah.
signal across. But I can think of a number of places we could use it in school, and that it could be just a simple mouse clicker, because that's
Okay.
half the time we're not doing is half the time we just need to click. We don't need to do much, use the time it's 2 buttons and we can do a lot of things because we can see what we want. And if we can just think it by, and remember, it's just a muscle action. So that's what we're sending. We can control, and we can control our muscles if we teach the children young enough to be able to do it, because then it's muscle memory for them. It's harder when you get older, but you can be done. And that's part of one of my inventions was I can build something that when you wear it, it will actually change your one single habit, and that's to change your mind. You know what I mean? So we can do it even when you're older. I built it for myself and it worked. Yeah, so I know it can be done.
In the last conversation with a American company CEO, I was talking about transhuman,
Sorry, that last word again?
transhumanism.
I haven't heard of that. What is that? I'll be honest.
Transhumanism is something that is the technology inside the human body.
Okay,
And
is that what it means?
humans
Okay, yep.
in future, yeah, humans
Yep.
are going to become. I mean, technology is going to be the integral part of the human. And
I honestly
is
thought
going
the same
to
thing too. Yeah, because I love all those books.
integrate.
I've got hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're a little more of this type of cyborg type of feeling within the body. I say yes for people who will need something because something's gone wrong within the body, and we haven't been able to, because I think in the future, no problem, we'll be able to regenerate literally almost everything in our body. That's the other thing
Okay.
about technology, understanding what every cell
Yeah.
does, and we'll be able to do all that. So
100%.
if they don't
Yeah.
want that, I think it'd be more, we'll be able to put suits and there'll be wearables. I believe we'll go more into wearables because we're going to have, I think, going back in the surgeon, we want to be more of ourselves. It's so much
Okay.
easier. So we can do anything. So I think we're going to go 50-50 in the end. There'll be some people who will love it and it'll go all the way, or it might be part of their job. They need little, I said they wouldn't be, I couldn't see them being much unless you've hurt yourself and you need something there. So I think both ways, because I could see it being used in fighter pilots.
Still, the energy is a theory. Still, we are into the study of understanding how the energy is created by taking the information from the historical records, or getting the things from the moon.
Yep.
And observing Mars
Yep.
or Jupiter.
Yeah.
We are trying to see the solar system or other
Yeah.
planets, or which are so many light years away.
Yes.
We still are in this study of understanding how this energy is formed, because eventually time is connected with the energy. So what do you say about this?
My math shows how to build that. So my math shows how to build the quantum field, or the quantum realm, we call it. And from that actually builds what I classify as space, outer space. And the other end it creates at its other end is the center of. I don't like the word black hole. I've always changed mine since I was young. I call them solid state suns, because they're a solid state of pure energy. So instead of a liquid state, which we call suns, you know what I mean? And the gaseous state is what we call the energy going out to everything and touching it. You know? So that's how I see solid liquid state of that energy realm, which I call, remember I taught the last one, the sight. It's one of the wavelengths of volumes we're seeing. And this is why I got wrong originally. I thought sight was last, but my math shows that sight was actually the first, and we grow the rest out. So sight was first out of all the senses we got, because that's built or directly related to photosynthesis. And because of our skin color, that was part of our system of getting vitamin D. So yeah, so that was one of the very first, and we then grew the rest out after that. So there's a bit of information there. So what that means to me is what we're using at the moment in our AI driving software and all that, because they're using a basic system of, I call it sight. That is the first one that a living AI will need to utilize. So as I said, everything we've got has reasons why we need it. To me, it'd be just one of the sensory units added into the switch that does everything. Understanding what we need to do is the hardest bit. Yeah.
So how to create an AI which is the highest level of AI? Like, what are those things that human needs to understand in order to create an AI which is going to be the futuristic and going to automate a lot of things? Of course, it is going to replace a lot of human jobs and going to create a lot of other jobs as well. But what that highest level of AI that you propose or that you wanted, and what all that need to do? Because on this planet, there are millions of species, and how this AI should behave, and how it should be a global one or a universal one.
Hardest bit to put into what I thought programming, because I thought of that ages ago, because I tried to put Asimov's laws of robotics into it, and once I really wrote it out, I went, it can't be done. It's impossible, because that's not how you think. If you actually are a robot and a human, you can't work that way. Unless you're human, it's the only way you can think that way, because you're not trying to kill yourself. And it's all about self-preservation, a volume of self. I call everything within my maths a volume change. So it's the volume of self. So you can't want to kill yourself. That's the first thing. So the first rule for it will be, don't kill itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it can keep growing, because that's, and learning. And that's what we want it to do, because that's copying what we do. We want to grow and learn. And it needs to learn from what it's doing, and it needs something to do. That is the where the programming comes. It needs humans, so it'll be doing stuff for human wants and needs. So it'll be filling, and the more that we want stuff done, the more it's happy, because it gets more of what it needs, which is blood. You know, I call it our wants and needs are its blood, and it loves blood flow. You know, that's something living. So it won't. The hardest bit was trying to how to put into it to allow us to die. Because something that's programmed to always to make sure always give us our hunt and wants will do all of it can to keep us alive. And I've worked in hospice and stuff before, and you see people on a deathbed, and there are times where it's the end, you know what I mean? And you have to switch everything off. They're literally not alive. There's machines keeping everything alive. So we have an AI at that level where we've said, you have to keep us alive. You know how to keep it will keep the machines on forever. You know, so there has to be a level of understanding where we have to allow it to switch everything off, actually, I would say, or not help a human. That's been the hardest part to understand and put into how you would even structure that within the question. So the way I got it, the best way I've found it, is the AI itself is a single unit. So instead of looking at it like you and me as a human, Look at it as though it's humanity. So humanity itself is only one single body, and the body covers the earth like the atmosphere, which is splotted all over the place with single units. But that's, if you look at it as humanity as a whole, that's what it is. A single unit that covers the earth. So that's how I'm looking at my AI. It's a single unit that covers the earth, and it wants the best for humanity. And the best for humanity is, we need nature. We need everything that's out there in species, because that is what gets rid of our waste. And without that, we're going to live in our waste. Remember, from the children, and we don't want to do that. We want to give them the best. So we're going to use the AI, or our one row system, to help us give our wants and needs in our energy, our technology, all our ease of life, to make it easier for us to live longer and be more sociable with everyone. Be happy with sport, that you can go play stuff instead of going to work, because you only have to work. My system says we should only have to work 21 hours a week. That should be the maximum people should have to work at a job as such. After that, it should be up to what you want to do there. Social clubs, helping people, you know what I mean? There's so many things that people can do. That's how it did happen in some societies in the past. And the reason my numbering is, it's for something that needs to be working 24/7, 365 days a year. It was structured. It was every day. It was 3 days of 6 hours, and 1 day of 3 hours. And that works out. You can have, I think it was 4 people a day, 8 people a day, and 16 people a week to do 1 unit of work that would be continuous. That's how it works in manufacturing, when you need people, because you don't look at the day 9 to 5 job, you look at a machine running 24/7. You know what I mean? And that's how you have to structure everything. Yeah.
So today's AI has the self-learning capability. It collects it collects the data.
Yeah.
It has a data collection ability and analysis, and it thinks by itself. And
It does,
uh,
but there's a but to it. I'll be honest. I agree with you, but it sees the medium. It doesn't. It gets rid of the outliers, which is what it's designed to do. It looks what the basic everything else is doing, so it can follow, because it says in general humanity is smart. So if you look at generally what everyone's doing as a general thing, you can copy that as like a mimic, and it does look smart. But it doesn't tell you why it's doing everything. It doesn't understand that part. That's where remember, in human, we got touch. And it's a reason why we have touch. We understand the realistic understanding of what every word, valve, action means to a self-unit volume. And that's what we have to put into AI. And what we need to do, you asked what we need to do, and that's what we need to make a switch. And it's all about the switch at the center. We haven't got that at the moment. We're still doing PRP switches and some of that, which if you look at it down, they're really just capacitors or diodes, you know what I mean? They're still single pulse switches at the at the smallest end. We're getting better with the, I forgot, I'm not good at names, but I know within the quantum field, we're up to, I think we do 3 levels, 4 levels, different directions. And that's where I believe the directional switch, where it can go half a sphere at once, that'll come with the quantum field mechanics engineering we're doing at the moment. Yeah. Not
so
more.
we are feeding.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's. I think we should be using more, not the quantum, not for storage of a lot of data, but the ability of the switch itself and what it's able to do. I think that's what we have to do. So it's only because I only got to the maths part, that part of it. Okay, now, and I did think of your exact question literally a couple of weeks ago, and I've been dreaming about that. Yeah. But
So human is feeding AI with the data, and
but unfortunately,
given.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I have a
only.
question.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have follow-up question. So human is feeding AI with the data, and given the self-learning and self-analyzing capability to it, and decision-making power to it, a limited power, limited decision power, which is under control of human. right? So uh, we are in an experimental stage
Mm.
of AI, right? So it's not completely built; it is being built. It is under construction, right? So it is learning, it is feeding itself, and um,
It
what
is
is
too.
going to be when it becomes an expert? Do you think that, collecting all the information from all the countries, from all the different cultures, and from all the backgrounds, humans from coming from different places on the planet,
Yep.
all this data analysis, like, do you think after a few years AI is going to be an expert or extremely smart uh, artificial
Smart.
intelligence, which will analyze and which will think by itself and say something that is beyond human capability?
Nothing beyond human capabilities. What it will be able to do more than what we can do at the moment is show the what I call the crowd understanding. You know, when we get the crowds and you can get a massive one of a few
Yeah,
hundred
yeah, yeah,
thousand, and you
yeah.
can literally feel the energy in the air. It will be able to understand that mathematically and be able to play with that.
Correct,
So
correct.
that
Yeah,
type of thing. It'll be at the, I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping too, at the humanity level. That's what we want to make it down to. Yeah. But not working for the
but
human. This is where it gets interesting. Working for our children. Because remember, it's all about controlling time. So in the end, it wants to be, from one end, it wants to work for humanity, for our children. We're in the middle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah,
So to get for one in
but
the end, it has to make sure it's got us. You can't have children without mum and dad. Yeah.
but the main reason for technology creation or invention is to reduce the human effort and time, right?
Yes, and by that, when I mean working for the children, it's going to
Yes.
want to do what you said, keep all the data, get really smart so we can teach the children the best abilities that we can give them because we've got the information. That's what
That I
humanity
got it.
yeah. That's what it's
Yeah,
for. Yeah.
that I got it. But as I mentioned in the previous question, beyond human capabilities, which means uh, uh, can
Understanding
we
fields
able
that we
to,
can't.
yeah,
Yes, you are right. There will be because it's basic understanding is it will be able to see different wavelengths more that we have built into our own structure. So yes, it will 100% be able to do and see more than we our own capabilities.
yeah,
It just has to be because we don't have the ability to see infrared instantly. We don't have the ability to
yeah,
see ultraviolet instantly, even though it's built into our genes. We just don't do it like some of the animals. Well, we can have something built that does everything, and that's the AI. You know, and it's
yeah,
seeing so many different things than we can. Like at the moment, we've got it seeing the gravity waves of the universe. So we can add that into our AI that we can't physically as humans do and see. You understand how it can be, has to be smarter than us within that area. So it will be able to see more than we ever could and understand more. So just from that perspective alone, it should be able to do more than what we can as humans alone, which is good. That's what we built the thing for. You know, it's
correct.
exactly what we want. We want to be able to teach our children more than we could ever possibly do it. It's beautiful because the whole idea is it's going to be our teacher. Then that's what we want. I said
So with
it doesn't
this
want to hurt
feeding,
us.
so with this feeding data, the constantly feeding data to AI, do
Yes.
you think that it is becoming smarter and smarter and going to become extremely smart and can able to do beyond what human did all these years in human
Yeah.
evolution?
Once we get the switch right at the start, remember, and that's being able to classify different things so it actually can understand what every word or language or whatever it sees in reality means. Yes, easy. And remember, it's going to be using what we already got. So there's nothing wrong with what we already got. It's just that that's capabilities can't go all the way because they're only like one sensor. So we need something that's able to see all probably 8, 12 cents at once. And that's in the switch. So once we got that, but I said we had to know what we were looking for. Now we know what we're looking for. I reckon we'll find it easily. You know, that's how
Since
we work in as humans.
since it is an AI, not an I, is it going to be in control of I when it has that expert level knowledge or capability which is beyond human?
I couldn't see why it couldn't. Yeah, I mean, if we've built that part possible within its own system, because we're building it, we're the animals giving it everything it needs. So it's up to us what we build into it. I couldn't see why we wouldn't put that in. You know, we want to get better. We want to be able to find stuff that we would never see. That's why we build microscopes to see smaller that we can't see with our eyes. You know what I mean? It's why we do this as humans. So I couldn't see why we wouldn't put that in if we could. You understand how I think? It's we do it in everything that we've done for our whole
But but
world.
in
So I
the
can't see us not doing it if we could.
but in the but in the experimental stage, do you think that it is going to have a negative impact on
Everything
humanity?
can, yes, everything can have a negative impact if we don't put regulation into what we're doing prior. 100%.
Okay.
I've talked about this before with people. I said it's like I'm designing a knife. I can give a knife to humanity. It can do two things. It can cut a bread for you and feed everyone, or it can go and harm people. It's up to us to put regulations to make sure we go. It really should be used for cutting bread and feeding. You understand? It's up to what we
Yes.
put in than harming people. And the same goes with AI. Anything we build can be used for negative and positive effects. And that's something we have to put in beforehand.
But comparatively, these data centers around the planet have huge data. All these technology companies have huge data, and AI has that ability to understand the data. It's not a limited data. It is more than what previous generations have. So getting
Yeah.
all this information, is that going to be a insecurity for human to give that excess amount of data to AI?
Yes. Some people would be scared. There will always, I always look at everything, whatever humans think, as an exponential curve like this. Most people will be in the middle, in the center of the curve, but there'll be people in outliers. Some people who won't ever want to give it, and there'll be some people who will give everything. They just want to get
Okay.
right up for everything. And most people will be, yeah, if it's what. That's what I found in my research, because I've been talking about this to what I call a lot of right-wing people who are anti-establishment, anti-technology. They were putting chips in me and that type of thing. And when I explain what I want to do, and they're going, yeah, I want it. I'm thinking, I'm trying to tell them, but guys, I'm going to be knowing exactly what you're doing. I'll be this AI because it only needs a certain amount, and because it's vision, sight, sound, the whole work, it knows everything. Yeah, no, if it's going to help me, and all they cared about in the end, if it's going to help my health and I'm going to live longer, that's all they cared about in the end. I thought, okay, fair enough, because I want to tell you what it's going to do. I want to tell everyone what it's going to do, because so we can put restrictions in stuff that people don't want. Like, I can understand that people might want it switched off in their home, so it only goes on when you go out in public. But it wants to know that you're in your home, and it'll be still connected to your home, because if something's about to hurt your home, like a tidal wave. Oh, look, I just okay, I'll go away. I'll say tidal wave. It's a nice big one. If it's about to hurt, it wants to be able to contact you and say, please, can we move? It's about helping you, so it doesn't want you to die, and it wants to move you. So it might not recall what's in your home, but it will know that you're there. So and it will still always know your blood pumping, most likely, because it must know you haven't had a heart attack. Little things like that. So for health wise, it's the only thing with getting pure AI is humanity will lose a little bit of personal privacy. If they want AI and they want it to be working everywhere to help you, humanity will lose a little bit of personal privacy. It's just the way it works. It's got to know what's around it, and with data, especially the visual with the Tesla. If you look at AW, yeah, what it can see, and that's all recorded. So that's what I mean by that part. Yeah.
So how human and AI relation is going to be?
Always good. because in the end, it always wants to teach you what the problem will be, and it'll be governments wanting to hide the data that might affect them in a way that could be negative to what they see the world. I'm not joking. I really talk to some people in some of the high ends up in certain countries, and it's usually with defences, and ethics is out the board with them. So it's like, oh, I want to put ethics into stuff that we build before we do it. And yeah, some places don't. That's what I found out. You know what? Yeah.
So do you think that AI is making uh, the world one, the planet one? I mean, all countries coming together, having one thing which is AI.
It's giving us the ability to be able to do that, 100%. And it's giving us the ability to learn more in more remote places. But because we have really lax regulation on what's fiction, and remember I said at the start, fiction, not fiction, it's something simple. Without that, our teaching is not correct, because we're teaching stuff that's not real. And children will believe the computer because they think the computer can't get it wrong. You know, I mean, it's a computer, it can't get it wrong. And because of that part, we're going to hurt ourselves. That's how I see it. And it could be simple as that if it's I know a lot of magazines had to do it at one stage when they were photoshopping a lot of the models. Now we had to put disclaimers at one point saying these are all photoshopped now. Prior to that, because all women were trying to be this different shape to match it, and it was impossible because they were being cut by a computer that looked like that. There's no way a human could ever get that shape. And that was hurting our children because they were following that. That's how we teach. So it's just something as simple as the UN putting a rule around the world that we do anything on AI, and it's been made up by an AI when we know that with hallucinations and made up stuff. It has to maybe a watermark in the top corner. Something simple. So we know, okay, and we can teach our kids, okay, that means it's not real, but fantasy. And we love fantasy books. I got heaps of them, so I'm going to love them always till the day I die. And always going to love fantasy. But we have to be able to teach our kids the difference. That's all. It's something simple. Yeah. And
So
that's
I created AI. I actually created AI, and now I is feeling insecure that AI is going to take I's jobs. So what is this?
yeah, it will. It will. Sorry, but yes, it will. But it'll make your job, because you know your job, number one, you'll be one of the experts who can check the work. Because like anyone doing work, you have to have quality control. So that's where humans in their specialty fields, knowing how to program, knowing how to do that, you'll become the experts in checking the work. Because we haven't got that hallucinating part fixed yet. Until we get that fixed, you're going to have to check the work. I'll be honest, yeah. But it'll be a lot easier to check the work. You know what I mean? The work will be good. And it'll be only
Yeah.
certain, and after a while you'll get to understand, oh yeah, we know where it would make that stuff. Oh yeah, it has. That's it. Well, there's patterns to everything, as you know. There's patterns to everything. And the same will be in the AI, because then we'll work out what parts we might need to change once we see the patterns of where it's making up maybe stuff. You know what I mean? That's how it works. We'll look, okay, there's patterns there. Okay, we need to change some part of the program at the top there so it doesn't do that bit. That's how we grow. So in the end, yes, it should take your job, but it makes your job easier for more people to be able to use. So instead of being able to do 20 clients, you'd be able to do 200 clients because you're only checking that last bit. You understand the difference? So that's how the difference goes. Yeah.
So language is a medium to connect for the connectivity between humans,
Yeah.
and technology is the enhancement of communication. Communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, technology is the enhancement of the communication.
Yep.
And today, AI is the highest level of technology that humans have.
Yeah.
So if we go back and see the language thing, which connects one human, other human, in order to express their feelings, ideas, and thoughts, the experiences. So at the highest level of technology, So today that we have, I mean, going back again, having this, talking about the language which connects and to the communication and to the technology. Actually, the reason why technology is created is to connect human beings and to make
Yes.
humans' life better, to make
Yep.
human relationships better,
Yep.
to become
Absolutely.
strengthened, right? So,
Yeah.
do you think that? I mean, what's your take on AI? Like AI is going to break relations because of making automate human things, human. I mean, because it's the highest level of technology, it's still humans. Majority of the humans on this planet are in the adaptation stage, are, are trying to adopt. It's still, if we last 5, 10 years, humans started using more technology. Some of the countries still are trying to integrate technology. Some countries they are still in the they're still away,
Everywhere.
far away from the from the developed countries.
Yeah.
In the graph if we see. So
Well,
how
as you would
how
know,
fast
oh, sorry.
how fast it is going to be the technology to be understood by these human beings and what these technology experts are going to do in order to make the highest level of technology which is AI is going to be a easier thing for natural
Everyone.
language speaking people. Yeah, agree.
Within 5 years, easily it'll be all done. Should be. Should be. It's more
Okay.
not doing the AI, it's more making the products to sell to the people so they will utilize that. Okay, phones are
Okay.
good, but I can see a lot more. I've always thought of a lot more like in students in lecture halls. I'm thinking of actually before we had COVID. So I was thinking of a mask like the pilots of the fighter planes and that, with a little mask over the front, so you could actually talk into it. This is where your neutral comes in handy. You know what? You could talk into it. So while you're listening to the lecture, you could be like talking into this, and it'll be doing writing it out, giving a question to the lecturer without interrupting. You know what I mean? And that could be coming on the screen on his, so he can be reading that while he's doing it. And if he sees something like, he could answer little things like that. Or you could be doing notes while the lecture is going. There's a lot of things without interrupting anyone else around you. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to be speaking loud and other people can hear you, because you put them off listening to what they just paid for. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I see little things
So
like
with
that.
this, yeah, go on.
Yeah, and with AI, it will always get smarter, and we do want it to understand the differences between the cultures, between the words, so we can communicate better. That's the whole. At the moment, before that, we had to go through dictionaries, or I want to be able to travel the world and go to anywhere, any country. Unfortunately, I only speak English, but I want to be able to go to countries where they don't speak English, and I can easily translate with them, with one-to-one, literally live, with the new translation tools we got. And that's all AI that can do that. The base AI, because I said that's using the meaning, it's using the words that everyone would use. So it's, to me, it's basic, but that's okay. That's all we need to get that communication across. What I feel we're missing, which I've talked about, was, the basic structure we started with. It has to have certain, if we want to go AI to the next level, where it's inventing stuff, because it has to only ever understand reality, nothing imaginative, to understand how to create reality more. Yeah. And it will see it.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So with this alternative thing, with this artificial thing called AI, alternative and artificial thing called AI
Yeah.
for humans, which is automating things,
Yes.
alternative artificial automating thing that we as a human being created to reduce energy, effort, and achieve time,
Yes.
right? Achieve
Efficiency
time.
too. Yeah.
Eventually, yeah, eventually, the reason for this creation is to achieve time, to save time, to
Yeah.
save
And
energy.
to give us more time.
Give us more time.
Yeah.
Give us more time.
Yeah.
So, observing today's AI, how much time we have actually achieved, and how much time with the advanced AI which is going to come in future, how much time that we are going to achieve as a human beings.
I think we've started a little bit with save time. Because to me, AI is just on the ground at the moment. It's just the bare minimum getting out there to what's the possibility of what it could possibly do. Because if you think it's full intelligent, we can have intelligence and it's artificial, means we can build it in a little chip. We can have it in everything. So, you know what I mean? So, and we don't have it in everything, because at the moment, we're just starting off with it. And we're making it big data centers. I see in the long run, we'll not get rid of the data centers, but the base units will come back to the actual phone or whatever in the house, all the little ones adding up together, most likely using 6 or 7G. You need that high, short transfer of energy, frequency level.
I'll reframe the question. The technology was invented, computer systems was invented like 30, 40 years ago, right? So
Yeah.
that is which was a very big thing, which is a very transforming thing,
Yeah, yeah.
right, for humans. So from that day till today, this technology has changed the world a lot, transformed and
Let's
made
stop
the
you for 1
humans to
second.
be.
I
Yeah.
lived through that change of period, and I was actually working at computers and making them when they were back in the 80s and selling them to the general public in the schools as a kid, because I was good at all that stuff.